Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into a delayed start to tonight's Challenger Cup Series action from the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway. As we are 4 laps in, apologies for that delay. Had some technical difficulties getting on the airwaves tonight. Not sure what decided to happen with OBS, but OBS was deciding to struggle some tonight. Unfortunately, led to us getting on the air a little bit later than I would like, but nonetheless, we are live from Darlington Raceway, the track too tough to tame, and it's throwback weekend, as in NASCAR. It's throwback weekend here in the Challenger Cup Series as well, and a number of drivers have throwback-looking paint schemes on their race cars. We'll try to go through all of them as tonight's race goes on, as several guys are in new colors tonight. James Coytrone leads the way early, chased by Christian Strader, and let me tell you, Christian Strader, a man who had some things to say this week, throughout the course of this week, as the drivers engaged in a little bit of friendly banter, friendly trash talk. Strader, a man who's won here before. I've seen and called a race where he has won at this racetrack before, so Strader very confident, but Coytrone leads the way in a new look Oscar Mayer Chevy Camaro, as Strader trails in the Coast Guard Ford Mustang in the 29, and GT Erziri, who's been as hot as anybody in this series over the past several weeks, runs back in third with Travis Everett, his teammate, in fourth. And last week's winner, but Andrew Little, back in the 5th position, gets his way to the playoffs, and now running 5th here in Darlington. Harold Watkins is the points leader, and he runs back in 6th. You saw right off the bat there was trouble for Matt Hayden, a tad bit of irony. If you watch Sunday afternoon's Cup Series race at Darlington Raceway, as Matt Hayden is driving the Kyle Larson throwback paint scheme that Kyle Larson had trouble in on lap 4. Hayden had trouble on lap 3. Some funny bit of irony there. Now, Hayden cannot go 160 laps down in this race and did not destroy the front end of his car. So, lucky for him, he's going to stay in it. Up front, change for the lead. Christian Strader to the point. And that is something we may say a lot of tonight. Back, remember, at some places earlier in the season, Strader was the best car on track all night, and so far he paces the way. He paced the way in qualifying, paced the way in practice. He was the fastest car in the early sessions of this one. 132 laps on the board tonight, so another one that may get done and over with pretty relatively quickly. We'll have to see what the time of this race looks like, about 35-second lap times for these guys so far, but the tires will start to wear out. You see a lot of guys driving just like the Cup drivers do. They start in the corner, start low in the corner, they let it ride up to the wall, and then they kind of drive it down the hill, off the fence, and straight as possible down the straightaway to carry as much speed as possible. Now in turns 3 and 4, a little bit narrower turn, there's guys kind of sticking to one line. Strader so far has run the bottom right along that dash line. There are a couple of others like Coytrone, that like to run up against the fence. You see Strader again, inner low, ride right to the outside wall, avoid that Darlington stripe against the outside safer barrier, and then kind of cut down off the corner and drive down the hill and use the momentum off of that corner and onto the back straightaway. But then here in 3 and 4, you'll see guys stick more to one line, although Coytrone has ridden up the racetrack just a little bit. Here is Zuri going to stay towards the bottom, and a couple other guys out back. We're riding up closer to the safer barrier. Top 6 under a blanket. Back to Andrew Little. Brand new colors aboard Little's machine. And that's 68. Black, green, and orange. Similar concept to that paint scheme, but black is now the base color and looks mean. Would look even meaner under the Darlington lights. Unfortunately, this one is during the day, but nice, sharp paint job aboard that Waterford Concept Chevrolet. Winner of last week's race in Martinsville. Gets passed for 5th position by the AC Delco Chevy, the 3 of Watkins, and boy, is that a nostalgic look for some of us that grew up watching NASCAR. Watkins running the old, actually it's the Superman variant, I believe, of the AC Delco car. I thought it was. I haven't really gotten a great look at it yet, but I thought that's what it was. See as he flashes by the camera, and it is Superman aboard that AC Delco Chevy. And Harold Watkins hoping to be Superman at Darlington and capture win number 3 on the season. Denied that win last week by Andrew Little. And Watkins looks to go back to victory lane. So too does Strader, who's also got 2 wins. The only 2 guys with multiple wins on the season coming into tonight's race, the 29 and the 3. Coytrone looking for win number 1. So far, very sporty, looking to lock his spot in the playoffs. So too is Travis Everett. Travis is in a better points position, admittedly. than the 38 of Coytrone. Coming into this week, James Coytrone is the final car in on points. And the cushion that he has over Michael Martino, Kevin Zabloodle, Stephen Rasick, Cody McCormick is not insurmountable for those guys behind him to catch up. They about a 29-point gap to Martino, a 39-point gap to Zabloodle. Although, notably, for that car, neither in the field tonight. So for Coytrone, an opportunity to gain a ton of points. Stephen Rasick is, but runs back in 13th. So an opportunity here. Coytrone trails Brandon Beauchamp, who currently is already on and off pit road. A lap down, may go 2 laps down here early. He trails Greg Bourbonier, who runs right now in the 9th position. And he trails Jimmy Fitzmaurice, who also is on pit road with an early problem on lap 15. So Coytrone stands to gain some ground here tonight in the points. Could easily gain 2 positions, probably not 3. He's 32 points back of Fitzmaurice in 13th. But could easily gain some spots in the standings tonight and get up out of that 16 hole and into a higher spot. Also hunting for a win for those playoff points that will be invaluable come postseason time. 16 up and down, no changes through the top 6. You saw Brandon Beauchamp go a couple of laps down. Matt Hayden is now 1 lap down. So is Fitzmaurice, and so is John Velocity. Several guys having early trouble here at the track too tough to tame. Perhaps an early Darlington stripe for those 4 cars, as they're all now 1 lap down. Leaves us with 13 on the lead. Lap 17 started tonight's race, as Schrader is 4/10 in front of the field on lap 17. James Coytrone runs second. Irizarry and Everett run third and fourth. Travis Everett is running down these lead cars. Biggest mover so far is Steve Potter. Started 16th tonight, is up to position number 10. After that, it's Hunter Carlson, another man who's had success here in races that I've called. A nice, sharp-looking T2 paint scheme aboard that car, and I got to see the inspiration for it. It is a dirt late model, and a really nice representation of that car aboard the T2 tonight. Usually the 32. Tonight, the T2 for Hunter Carlson. So, really nice-looking paint job there as throwback weekend approaches. Let's go through some of the up in there, but regardless, Christian Schrader is leading the way. And sorry about that. Again, technical difficulties tonight. Actually, internet issues tonight, looks like. But looks like we're back now, so let's restart that segment again. Christian Schrader, the Coast Guard colors, the driver from Virginia Beach, goes with blue and red on his machine. James Coytrone goes with Oscar Meyer, the Italian Stallion on the side of that one. An Orange Maine native runs in second. Again, new look for him. We've been used to seeing that blue and black and yellow and gray 38 machine for the first several weeks of the season, but he goes different tonight with Oscar Meyer aboard that race car. And he has been caught by Travis Everett. He goes with the typical Black Rifle Coffee Company colors, so no offense to him. We won't spend a ton of time there. We'll see if he makes this pass right here, though, as we take the NASCAR on Fox camera. No offense to NASCAR on Fox, but we take the NASCAR on Fox camera angle, zoomed into this battle for third, and then we'll go out of it here for a moment and catch this battle. Oh, my goodness. Talk about NASCAR on Fox camera angle. Not sure what's going on there. Okay, we're going to be avoiding that one throughout tonight. Everett drops off, so let's go back to these throwback paint schemes. Not a ton of difference on GT Irizarry, although kind of, already had a built-in throwback to the Wood Brothers aboard that Motorcraft Ford Mustang Dark Horse. He runs in fourth, so won't spend a ton of time here, although one of the hottest drivers in the series over the past several weeks captured the win back at Phoenix, and ever since then it's been on a complete tear in this series. Again, runs just outside those podium positions, and another solid top 5 run 23 laps in. Harold Watkins, we already noted the AC Delco Superman car. Very good look at it there. And a nice throwback, as several guys got the opportunity to drive that car, most notably Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Sr. back in the 90s and early 2000s. And as we go to this throwback segment, we're going to have to wait a moment because pit stops are underway from the Lady in Black. Travis Everett, Harold Watkins, and Andrew Little are the first 3 cars to engage in pit stops. We noted Andrew Little's paint scheme as well. We're going to wait till the pit cycle ends before we get back to that segment, but these 3 cars on pit road. We'll watch them take their service and also try to update you on when the leaders plan to make those pit stops. Looks like Schrader will stay out an extra lap. Irizarry will stay out, but Coitron comes to pit road. Rusty Modesty missed it. Modesty boots it, and will have to come back around another time. The 6 car could not get it woed down and inside the barrel, and unfortunately will now drop a few spots in the cycle, and tough break there for the 6. Here's Stephen Luttrell. We'll get a better look at this paint scheme in a moment. This is the Kmart car aboard Stephen Luttrell's machine. We'll get a better look at this one. This is a nice tribute as well to this Kmart machine. Hunter Carlson, we know in the T2. We'll get a better look at that paint in a moment as well. Modesty will come to pit road this time. As Steve Potter, the typical Haviland colors aboard his machine, with Justin Malarkey going by him for provisional 5th place right now. These 2 drivers run around each other in turns 1 and 2. Greg Bourbonier. How about Bobby Allison for you? The Miller High Life colors. We'll get a better look at that one again after the pit stops. And then we have the drivers that have already come to pit road. John Velocity throwing back to Dale Jr.'s Budweiser All-Star Game car. You see the All-Star Game logo even on there. Nice touch. And Budweiser's on there as well. Really great stuff from John Velocity. Talked about Matt Aiden. Not the car I would have chosen as a self-proclaimed fan of Kyle Larson. I don't know if I'd have gone with that one, but it's a good-looking car. But Kyle Larson has a bad... Right as I say that, Matt Aiden tries to knock the fence down on the exit of turn number 2. But no, Kyle Larson seems to drive a really great-looking paint scheme in the Darlington Spring Race for Throwback Weekend. And always seems to crash. 4 years in a row, he's had a really nice-looking car that he has wrecked. And Sunday, wrecked it twice. Once on lap 4, destroyed the front end, went 160 laps down, comes back out, and causes a caution with 2 laps to go. That forces overtime. Checking up for Tyler Reddick, who was in the wall. Ended up in the inside wall 2nd time. Talked about Modesty, Stephen Rasick, Ryan Newman. Colors aboard that car, all tell. And again, we'll get better looks at these cars in a moment. Jimmy Fitzmaurice, the usual 33. Black, red, and white aboard his car. And Traveler Whiskey aboard Brandon Beauchamp. A couple more cars on and off pit road. Hunter Carlson has made his stop. Steve Potter completes his. Stephen Luttrell and your leader, Christian Schrader, are in. A number of other cars have already completed their service as well, including those cars that were running right behind Christian Schrader. Malarkey was one of the last to come in. He'll inherit the lead for a moment. Now comes to pit road, and Greg Bourbonier will follow him, and that will complete the first pit cycle. Schrader will get cycled past for the lead. The undercut works. Little to first, Everett to second. And Watkins will get 3rd, but Schrader will be on his tail with newer tires here in 3 and 4. So we'll see how Schrader's able to get that machine wound up. And Andrew Little gets to the lead, and we'll restart now. Kind of this focus on our throwback paint schemes. As Andrew Little works the way up the banking, and solid works aboard that car. Waterford Concepts as well. He said he was coming back with a new paint job, and this one is different. Black, green, orange, and blue aboard that car. A new design on the roof. And a really slick-looking car as he continues to lead laps. Sim Racing Arts aboard that machine as well. So for Andrew Little, a nice-looking paint job there. We talked about Everett, we talked about Watkins, and we talked about Schrader and Coitron and Irizarry. So let's go back towards Matt Aiden again. HendrickCars.com. Throwing back to Terry Labonte's Kellogg's Frosted Flakes car from the early 2000s. Nice look aboard that 5-car. Man, again, you got to love Kyle Larson's paint jobs for Throwback Weekend. They just don't typically have good results. So far from Matt Aiden, though, P7 is a good run, a good recovery from early struggles for that 5-car. We talked about Velocity and the Dale Jr. Budweiser All-Star Game. And this is how a throwback is done right here. Fixing some of the logos. Fuel Fest still aboard that car, but fitted in nicely with the original concept of Dale Jr.'s car. Did not lose the original idea. Very true to form. This is a really solid throwback. As now it's an even more solid throwback as John Velocity picks up a Darlington stripe on the exit of turn number 4. This is another one I wanted to get a good look at. Stephen Luttrell in the 36 Kmart aboard that car, and that thing is sharp. The number, true to form, true to the time. Of course, all the old logos, Kmart spam, Melling wins. Motivator battery on the back on the quarter panel there. I mean, this is as true to form as it gets. As Luttrell throws it back to Lake Speed. And that's cool stuff right there. I always like the throwbacks personally where guys throw it back and, ooh, caution flag is out. We'll go check on that. We'll get to the rest of the throwbacks after we go back green. But as we hit our stage break, actually, good grief. I got so focused on the throwback schemes that I completely forgot lap 33 is the stage break. Andrew Little wins stage 1. But, back to my point as we get ready to go to a break. I love throwbacks that are not super mainstream, and the mainstream ones look good. And there's been some good mainstream ones, throwbacks to Jeff Gordon like William Byron this past week, or throwbacks to Jimmy Johnson, or throwbacks to Dale Earnhardt, or I like those. Don't get me wrong. Eric Jones had a nice one to John Andretti this past weekend as well. That was a really cool one also. But I like the ones that are a little bit more out there, and a little bit more like a little bit better pulls, let's say. And so for Luttrell, I love the idea of Lake Speed. I think that's really cool. I think that was a cool idea. It's executed well with the number and all the old logos kept true to form. I like that paint scheme a lot. Stephen Luttrell and John Velasquez, to me, two of the winners of Throwback Weekend so far. But again, we'll get some better looks at a few of the other throwback paint schemes when we go back green. Under 100 laps to go. First stage went by in a hurry as this race is flying by. Only 97 laps to go at the line. 96 next time, and 95 when we take the green. That will be in just a moment. Justin Malarkey stays out to lead a lap. And we're going to head to a quick non-stop break here from Darlington. Stage 1 complete. Andrew Little wins the first and only stage at Darlington. The run of the finish when we return on PGR eSports.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen, the monkey is prime!
This season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway. About to get underway for Stage 2. The only stage break of the night is complete from Darlington as Andrew Little is the first off pit road, but Justin Malarkey stays out under the caution flag. One of the last cars to pit decides he's going to flip track position and go to the race lead. One of the guys still without a win on the season is that 73. Green flag back in the air, 95 laps to go at Darlington. Malarkey is off and running, but not a lot of help. Help is on the bottom. With Andrew Little, Harold Watkins, Little to the back to the flat of turn 1. Will he beat the 73 off turn number 2? Not quite. Malarkey hanging tough on the outside, but now Little goes to the lead. Bourbonier is in the wall back there around the 8th position. As Little goes to the lead, and Watkins will fly right on by to second, so the tire advantage already taking hold. 3 wide back there around Travis Everett, but that does not work at Darlington. With 94 to go, he slides back in line and actually is going to lose several spots. Strader now trying to get third as Watkins got the lead. 3 wide back around Coitron. Strader going to get the spot as Coitron slips loose. Malarkey going backwards. Modesty gets blocked by Irizarry. This is a scramble back here around 5th position. Malarkey still going backwards. Irizarry goes to 4th. Coitron gets in the fence in front of Luttrell. That's going to allow Malarkey to stay up here. As Modesty will go to 6th, Everett to 7th, Coitron 8th. Luttrell and Carlson battle for 9th. As this group continues to be a total mess back here around 5th position. Irizarry starts to drive away from it. Let's take another look back here. Malarkey, this call is not working. I see what he tried to do. He pit later than everybody in the field, but that 5-6 lap tire advantage that these guys got on fresh tires, unless Malarkey is just hyper-saving what he's got, is really taking a toll on that 73. He's lost, make it 7 spots if Coitron's able to make the pass here in turns 1 and 2. He's going to have lost 7 spots since the restart. And we'll continue to lose him with guys lining up behind him. Coitron gets the spot from him. Up front battle will be for 2nd as Strader has caught Andrew Little and tries to drive underneath him. Little will run the defensive line. Strader will back up the corner, try to get to him. Christian Strader, one of the fastest cars at Darlington. Fastest car in every session so far and looking to top it off with his 3rd win of this young season. I say young season, we're halfway through the regular season already. But still a long ways to go before we get to Pocono for the championship 4. 43 laps in, the 1/3 mark already here at Darlington will be complete next time by. So I'm trying to bring up the stream chat. Apologies for that. I was trying to bring up the stream chat. Utilize the stream chat. If you're out there watching, tell me who you're rooting for. Tell me what's on your mind as we watch action from Darlington Raceway. I want to thank everybody for coming out again on a Tuesday. Battle continues here for 2nd. Strader and Andrew Little. Strader looking for the best way around this 68 car as Irizarry trails back in 4th. Justin Malarkey now has lost 10 spots since the restart. He's down to 11th. That call so far not working for the driver of the 73. Trying to wait and see if this battle amounts to anything here between Little and Strader before we go back to showing you the throwback cars that we did not have a chance to look at. In fact, I think there's only 2 remaining that we did not get a great look at under the last green flag run, Hunter Carlson and Greg Bourbonier. We'll switch it up just a little bit. Give you an onboard shot from Christian Strader as he tries to make the pass on Andrew Little, and Will right there in the middle of the corner. And goes on by. With that, we can go back and look at these other couple of throwback paint schemes. We'll start with that T2 of Hunter Carlson. Again, throwing it back to a dirt late model, and I saw the picture. And actually, now that I see it, he's got a 3 inside the T. And let me look back at this reference image, but I don't think that's on the original car. It is not. I mean, this is really solid throwback work. Again, I'm looking at the picture kind of as we speak as he picks up a Darlington stripe. But Hunter Carlson throwing it back to a dirt late model. And that's a good-looking paint scheme right there. Todd Bennett on the name rail, so there you go. There's who he's throwing it back to tonight. And I mean, just really accurate in terms of the logos. Kind of did what modern teams do, and integrated the old style font, like the original font, with new logos. with different companies, different brands. So I like that part of it. John Velocity did something similar with Fuel Fest on his Budweiser throwback. So I like that part of it. A nice looking throwback here for Hunter Carlson. And then Greg Bourbonier going back to Bobby Allison of the Alabama gang. Got to see Bobby Allison at Talladega back in October. The whole Alabama gang was there. That was a cool experience. But Bourbonier going with Bobby Allison tonight, Miller High Life. Classic look. I mean, as classic as it gets. You think NASCAR, you think the kind of the founding days of NASCAR, the kind of the initial surge of NASCAR, you think of cars like this. Bobby Allison, eventually Davey Allison. You think of Bill Elliott. Of course, you think of the early Dale Earnhardt in this same kind of area. You think of Darrell Waltrip. You think of Harry Gant. When you think of like the legends, that when NASCAR first started rising to popularity, and you think of just the paint schemes that defined an era, Bobby Allison's Miller High Life car certainly is high on the list. I believe that's all of them for this week that are running throwback paint schemes. So props to everybody that decided to participate. Always fun to kind of get to see guys be creative. And we are already 12 laps short of halfway. Watkins continues to lead. Schrader holds on to second, but is trailing by 1.3 seconds and counting. Justin Malarkey has gone 2 laps down. He actually has come to pit road early in this run. The pit call did not work out for the 73. Brandon Beauchamp is 8 laps down. He actually he's not quite called it an evening yet, but he will get out of the way of the leader Watkins here on the entrance to turn number 3. As Watkins continues to run away, he puts another 10th on Christian Schrader. And a battle back here for 6th. Coytrone and Rusty Modesty. Hunter Carlson enters the picture as well. Coytrone around the outside will get the spot for a moment. Modesty will battle back on the bottom. Carlson out of the outside of Modesty. Some contact there on entry to 1. Coytrone drives away into 6th, and Modesty and Carlson now battle for 7th. That battle will fizzle out. There's not a lot of battles to be heard of here on this racetrack right now. Really across the whole field. Lassity and Fitzmaurice, this one's getting further apart, about 8/10 already. Matt Hayden, Stephen Luttrell, this might be a battle pretty soon. And if Luttrell continues on the pace that he's on. Just not a lot going on anywhere really else on the racetrack, so we'll keep it up here with Modesty, Carlson, and Coytrone. This seems to be the closest 3 cars on track. And even that is starting to get just a little bit further apart. But all of a sudden, Watkins starts to lose a little bit of time on Schrader. The gap down to 8/10 of a second. Christian Schrader in the long run starting to gain some time on our leader, so we'll put it back up front. Give you a wide angle here off turn number 4 as Watkins and you see Little go underneath Schrader. So Andrew Little now takes over second as Watkins works his way down, and then you see him roll right up to the outside wall. I mean, he gets as close as he can without hitting it. And he comes down to the dash line, back through that seam, and drives it all the way down the backstretch. A lot of guys driving it the exact same way as Watkins is right now. I'll show you the gap right here on the wall. Andrew Little, second back from our leader. This camera angle here with the new fence, I don't know if it's the update, might be the update to Darlington, but the new fence blocks so much of your view on the front stretch that it's almost not worth using. We'll use it for a few laps. So Watkins continues to lead. 74 laps to go already next time by. And again, just about 3 laps short of halfway. I guess it'd be more than that. About 8 laps short of halfway. As Watkins continues to lead, Little is second and is holding steady, not running him down, but holding steady. In the second position, Christian Schrader has dropped a little bit off the leader back in third as GT Irizarry starts to work his way into the top 4 and looking on to the top 3 now. Again, just not a lot of battles going on here on the racetrack. There is one back here around 13th. A few cars locked together. Potter, Bourbonier, and Steven Rasick. We'll keep an eye here on this battle for a moment as 61 are on the board. Almost some contact between Potter and Bourbonier. Bourbonier has to jump out of the gas. Rasick taking advantage. Cannot get the spot. Oh, big Darlington strike there for Steve Potter as he gets the outside wall. And Bourbonier will try to take advantage here, but cannot again. Jumps back in line. Ooh, Potter got it again. Bourbonier followed him. Rasick, trouble on the back straightaway. Steven Rasick and Greg Bourbonier will get sideways and incur damage, but they do not spin. And as such, no caution flag comes out. Travis Everett had just hit pit road. They're going to call it a century if they had thrown the caution right there for Travis Everett. Rasick and Bourbonier make it back to the pit lane, and pit stop cycle likely beginning here at Darlington on lap 62, make it 63. .64 laps complete at Darlington. Just an extended break. Watkins continues to lead. The gap is still right about 1.2 seconds, but not for long. As Andrew Little was going to undercut. Instead, Watkins sees it in his mirror and comes to pit road, and Schrader does as well here. Zuri will follow. Coitron will follow. Modesty will follow. Hunter Carlson says, where'd the party go? I guess I'm going to stay out. Bonus point for the 32 for leading a lap. As we are 2 laps short of halfway home. Hunter Carlson leading the way. John Velocity stays out as well to take second. Potter will stay out also in. It's going to be third. As guys are up on the jack, Watkins down and away, Little down and away. But Schrader takes 4 tires and will lose a ton of track position here to those leaders. Carlson, Velocity come right to pit road the lap after. No waiting for them. So Carlson, Velocity roll off pit road. They will lose the lead here, though, to Watkins, who is now 2.5 seconds clear of Andrew Little, 4 clear of Irizarry. Schrader drops all the way to 6th in this cycle, but certainly will be on a bit of a warpath here with 4 tires instead of 2. It looked like most guys took 2 there. Schrader decides to stay the extra time and take 4, and we'll have to wait and see what that gains him. I remember there have been races like this before that I've called with Christian Schrader on the racetrack, where somebody took 2 or somebody took none, and Schrader stayed the extra time and took 4. In those races, it benefited him a lot. He ended up gaining a ton of track position from it. He was able to run a bunch of guys down. Now, was not quite this far back, I don't think, in those races, but we will keep an eye on the Coast Guard Mustang Dark Horse as he starts to work his way back towards the top 5 and eventually the top 3. Look at this run off turn number 4. He's going to turn underneath James Coytron of the 38, go right under him. Now has to think better of it, jump back in line, wait, bide his time, but he's already picked up a second and a half, almost 2 seconds on the leader, Harold Watkins, with 4 fresh tires instead of 2. And look at how fast he's going to make this happen on Coytron if he can get a line where he can pass. Let's see if he can do it right here. Let's see if he can drive up and around him off turn number 4. He will, but he'll put it in the fence. But he will get around the 38 and move him to 5th. And now we'll see how fast he can catch the next few cars. Everett would be next in line. Irizarry after that, and then the top 2, Little and Watkins, who he was chasing on that last run. Again, a strategy call here by most of the leaders to take 2 tires or no tires. Strader decides to stay the extra few seconds and take 4, and it's paid dividends in terms of gaining 3 seconds on the leader on this run. Inevitably will catch those next few cars in front of him. He is on an absolute warpath right now, is Strader. Last lap for the leader, I'm going to go back to Strader here. Last lap for the leader was a 30.14 for Harold Watkins. Last lap for Strader was a 29.35. He is 8/10 faster than the leader. And still closing, by the way, at a rapid rate. Left side tires are helping him turn the race car. This may pay dividends for him. That time of the line, 30.17 for Watkins. 30.11, 30.13, 30.09. What Strader run, you ask? 29.20. This 29 car is on rails right now. This is ridiculously fast lap times he's running. Right now, he's going to go right by, just breezes by Travis Everett for 4th. Irizarry's next. He's 3rd. I can't imagine he'll stand much of an opportunity to stop him anyway. 30.14 for the leader, 30.02 for Little, 30.18 for Irizarry, 29.36 for Strader. Now, eventually, this will fall off. He will not be able to run this kind of pace all night, but for what he's gaining right now on the leader, well, now he's kind of seen his run go away, but now he utilizes that high arc in 3 and 4 to just go right around the 14. That is ridiculous. 30.3 for the leader, 30.12 for second place Little, 30.3 for Strader, but now back in clean air. Let's see if he starts to pick up that time again, and you see on the left side of your screen, look at how quickly that gap is going down. I mean, this dude is consistently 7/10 faster than the field. And just trying to make this pit call worth it. And the only way really that he can make it worth it is if he's able to drive up and around the race leader, or at least put himself in a position to undercut and get back to the lead on the next pit stop. 6/10 faster for Strader, 29.5. The leader's 30.19. Fastest car on track, actually a 29.32 for Jimmy Fitzmaurice, who is on the tail of the lead lap. So we'll keep an eye on Strader as he continues this run to the front now, only 3 seconds back. He started this run 9 seconds behind the leader and has cut it to under 3 that time by. 30.33 for the leader, Harold Watkins. 29.29 for Strader. Over a second faster than the race leader. And he's got Andrew Little in his sights now. He's going to be there in a lap, maybe less. He may be there here by the time we go off into 1. I mean, he is rolling the center of the corner a la Ryan Blaney on Sunday. Look at how much time he just gained in the middle of 3 and 4. That time by 30.46 for Watkins, 30.36 for Little, 29.23 for the 29 of Christian Strader. Looking to go for win number 3 on the season. But now again, just as he did with Irizarry a moment ago and with Everett before that, he gets caught a little bit in traffic. Will turn it up the racetrack, dive underneath the 86 of, or the 68 of Little, and around goes Strader for second. At the line, 30.38 for Watkins, 30.04 for Strader, still 3/10 faster despite the traffic, and now stands just over 1 second back. The leader, Harold Watkins, on 2 tires. And 8/10 and 7/10. I mean, he's going to catch him in about half a lap at the rate we're going. Off turn 4, he's to a car length within the leader. 9-second run to the front. This shows you what 4 tires have meant. Most guys took none or 2. Schrader takes time to take tires. And will now come up on the back bumper of the leader, Harold Watkins. Down into turn number 3. Now again, catching him is one thing. Passing him is another. And right as I say that, he makes it about as anticlimactic as it could possibly get, to the point I couldn't even think of what to say. Schrader's on rails, folks. This is what I talked about earlier with him at Darlington. When he gets in a groove, he can go and run away with a race. And now with 43 laps to go at the line, lap 80 on the board, or 53 laps to go, I guess. The field is apparently sounding, now sounding the siren. Now they're on a bit of a nervous alert here with 52 laps to go next time by. Because now on 4 fresher tires than the field, Schrader has gotten all the way to the lead and can now drive away and put an insurmountable gap between himself and Harold Watkins if this race stays green. Now the pit cycle is not too far away. It started back in the mid-60s. So he's only got a few laps to put as much time between himself and Watkins as possible, but he's already put 2 seconds. He's already put almost 3 between himself and Little. He's already put over 6 between himself and Irizarry. The rest of the field is in the double digits. Coitron on pit road may have started this cycle way early. And why not? Oh, look, now Matt Hayden's got something here as well in the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. Hang on just a minute. Matt Hayden's found some speed in the late run. Last lap for Hayden, the 30.03, was faster than everybody on track except the leader. You got to wonder, did he take 4 on that last pit stop? That time by, still faster than everybody but the leader and Andrew Little. And so now we put our focus on Matt Hayden as being another car that perhaps took 4 tires on that last pit stop and is reaping the benefits. Now, it'll be a lot to catch those 2nd and 3rd place cars, but he could at least get to 4th right here. Turns underneath of Travis Everett. Will try to drive to his left side off the corner. Will do so. Drives up alongside him. Will make the pass here on entry to 1, I would imagine. Would throw it on the flat and make the pass. He does, and is able to stay out of the wall. And now, my question is, can Hayden run down those 2 cars, and can he put himself in position to make a race-winning call? Only 8.5 seconds back of the leader is Matt Hayden. He's actually starting to gain time now. Well, he was for a moment. Watkins to pit road will undercut most of the field. Irizarry comes by this time as well. Those 2 have decided to do the undercut. The problem is Watkins was already 4.5 plus seconds back of Schrader, and Christian Schrader is still running pretty competitive lap times, 29.71. 20 laps into a run almost for Schrader. Is going to be tough to deal with if he continues to run those kinds of lap times. Hayden up to 3rd now as those 2 vacate their spots. Hayden might very well catch Andrew Little. It'll be close between this pit cycle. It is a 6-second lead for Schrader, where he can kind of pull the William Byron. He can stay out here a little bit longer. Will he opt to? Yes, he will. Andrew Little, does he bring it to pit road? No. What about Matt Hayden? Also no. Travis Everett stays out. Next up, Hunter Carlson and John Velasty. Velasty dives to the flat. He will come to pit road on lap 86. Hunter Carlson will stay out. Luttrell stays out. Fitzmaurice stays out. You get into the cars that are 1 or more laps down or that have already completed their service. Another lap passed. Another lap done and gone for Christian Schrader. 46 laps to go. 1, maybe 2 pit stops left, and that may be what Schrader's banking on here. I almost wonder if he's trying to get to where he can do it in 2 pit stops. Irizarry, even Watkins, it's going to be close on whether or not they can do it in just 1 more pit stop after this. Schrader, if he can make it about another 3, then I think he would be in range to just go 1 more pit stop, and that may be all she wrote. Matt Hayden's trying to do the same thing, and in fact, Hayden has just about run down Andrew Little on this green flag run. Hayden and Schrader may very well have made the race-winning call to take 4 tires on that last pit stop. But now Matt Hayden loses a little bit of ground, but now he starts to pick it back up again. 8-second lead for Schrader. If he can go 2 more laps, I'm pretty certain he can make it on just 1 more pit stop, and the others might be able to as well. The tires are just going to get old faster. They're going to have to pit earlier and then kind of run longer on that last set. Schrader leads by 9 seconds. He's turning into William Byron. Well, we know how that race ended for him. Andrew Little on pit road. Travis Everett on pit road. 5 cars left to pit. One of them is your leader, Christian Schrader, and the other is Matt Hayden. And to be honest, I really love this call. You're not going to go as long on either set of tires now. You could split the last stage in half, and assuming you have the tires to burn, you're going to have fresher tires in the field for longer in both of these stints. You're also going to have to take less gas on that last pit stop. You won't have to take a full tank. You'll have to take a little bit less. Schrader, Hayden, Carlson, Luttrell are the only 4 cars that have not come to pit road. Next time by 40 laps to go. And the track too tough to tame. And Matt Hayden's going to bring it to pit road this time as well. So Schrader, the only car in contention for the win that is not yet pit. And his lap times for reference, as he's going to bring his car to pit road, we're still in the 29s. I mean, he was just wheeling that car. When everybody else had gone down into the 31s, Schrader had still run competitive lap times. Now, Watkins and Coytrone and Malarkey are all running, high 28s, low 29s. So, inevitably, I think Schrader will keep the lead, or Schrader will not keep the lead here, I don't think, but we'll see. Watkins was not that far behind him when he came to pit road. Now, how fast was the pit stop? We'll wait to see. Watkins is just now off turn 2. Schrader is in the box. What will the call be on Christian Schrader's car? Gas and go. Watkins off pit road now. He's got fresh tires, but how much will it matter here with Schrader? Schrader coming off pit road. He's in the middle of 1 and 2. Watkins just getting into 1. And as Schrader rolls back off the banking, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. It'll settle. Still hasn't settled yet. Schrader's actually going to get the fence here off pit road. It'll settle at about 4 seconds. And, I mean, without tires, there's a decent chance Watkins will run him down pretty quickly, but you got to think that Schrader save a set for the end of the race and make another run like he just did. Inside of 40 to go, Schrader is being run down slowly but surely by Harold Watkins, who is running laps about 8/10 faster, and this is kind of the same trend we just saw a moment ago with Schrader against Watkins. Now that lap, not as much of an advantage, about half a second for Watkins. What Schrader is hoping happens is these tires even out. And Watkins runs so hard trying to get to him that he kind of runs himself out of tire. But so far, that has not yet happened for the driver of the 3. He's close to within 2.2 seconds. Now that gap kind of settles a little bit off turn number 4 at the line. 29.91 Schrader, 29.26 for Watkins, so still picking up a lot of time. But not quite as much of a gap as there was on the last run. Now Hayden is slowly running down all of these cars, and I believe he took 4 tires again, and he took them the latest of anybody, which means he is again going to have a pretty considerable tire advantage, probably 8 laps or so of newer tires to try to run down part of this field. He's about to pass GT Irizarry for 6th and try to get Andrew Little for 5th, and could realistically get to Bolt Malarkey and Coitron by the next time we pit. Gap stabilizes there off of 2. Last time by, only about 4.5 tenths difference between the leader and the second place car, but now Watkins again begins to reel him in. But hold everything. Oh boy, oh, he almost really held everything right there. As Christian Schrader almost got T-boned by Steve Potter rolling down the banking, but almost caught me completely off guard. But hold everything, ladies and gentlemen, because the caution flag is out. Inside of 35 laps to go at Darlington. And it is for Steve Potter going into turn number 1. Slides, saves, slides again, saves, can't save it the second time. And unfortunately, Hunter Carlson, an innocent bystander as he gets into the side of the 94. Now watch this. As Schrader came by, that's not a huge gap between those 2 race cars. And almost a really tough break for Schrader. Not only that the caution came out, actually, I think the caution's a good break for Schrader, but the consequences of that caution would not have been a very good break. Potter not able to save the car, goes into the outside wall right in front of Hunter Carlson, nowhere for him to go. As just snapped loose, then saved it, snapped loose again, can't save it the second time. And let's see how close this really was. Oh boy, a matter of feet between the 94 and the 29. Let's take a couple more looks at this one. Let's actually go one more look, pretty self-explanatory. Let's go on board with the Potter machine. In fact, we're going to go to the cockpit angle. Watch this wheel input. So watch. Wall, save, snap, and then it can't save it a second time. And he gets around right in front of Hunter Carlson. Oh my, you heard Christian Schrader go by him. That was really close between those race cars. Well, this is interesting. Pit stops with 30 laps to go. I don't think this is going to ultimately do much other than the fact that Christian Schrader just took tires, which is going to make for a moment here as Schrader will now have fresher tires in the field. Little, Watkins, Everett stay out. Hayden is the first off pit road in the 5 machine. And we pace under caution with 31 laps to go. And now we get into the territory of late race restarts. Perhaps strategy out the window now. With just 30 laps to go, there will still be a pit stop, I assume, unless we get probably one more caution. I would think one more will be the limit, and then I think everybody could make it from there. 30 laps to go, a sprint to the finish at the Lady in Black. Andrew Little is the leader. Harold Watkins is second. The cars to watch are from 5th on back. Malarkey, or 4th on back. Hayden, Malarkey, Strader, Velocity, Coitron and the rest of the field. Green flag. Little gets a nice jump. Going to bring Travis Everett and Justin Malarkey with him. Hayden and Watkins, though, will have that preferred outside line. And Hayden in particular, I'm really curious here, as he's ahead of Christian Strader, how much speed that 5 car's got in it in the late run. Watkins gets the fence. Strader will follow Hayden through to 5th position around Justin Malarkey. And Travis Everett challenges for the race lead, but here come the 5 and the 29 on fresh tires. I don't know how long Hayden's going to be able to hold off Strader. If he can make a couple passes right here on Watkins, maybe Everett, maybe get to the lead, it'll make it really tough on Strader, but he's got to make quick work of these cars back here in front of him before Strader's able to get to him and make the pass. 29 to go. Next time by 28. Andrew Little looking to go back-to-back. Everett looking to punch a ticket to the playoffs. Hayden's in the fence as Strader goes on by. Christian Strader not done yet. The 29 looking to get back to the race lead with fresh tires and 28 laps to do so. Everett, for the second week in a row, hounds Andrew Little for the win, this time in Darlington. The top 3 the same at one point last week as they are right now. Little drives away by 3 car lengths. Strader is hanging around in the wings. At the line, 27 laps to go. Strader is position 4, but he wants 3rd from Watkins. He will get it down the front stretch and into 1. Strader 1.3. Back of the race leader, Andrew Little on fresh tires is the 29. But he's not the fastest car on the track this time around. Right now that honor belongs to Andrew Little, running his best lap of the race. Last time by a 28.82. In fact, I believe that was the best lap of the entire race by any car. But how long can he maintain it? Remember, a couple of these guys stayed out under this caution to try to maintain track position. How long can Little keep up this pace before Strader catches him on a tire advantage? Right now the gap of 1.5 seconds. 25 to go next time by. Now I don't think anybody can make it. The benefit for Little is he'll pit early. The benefit for Strader is that he'll have fresher tires when he pits. The gap is 1.3. Last time by, Little still second fastest. Still second. Now he's second fastest. Now Strader's the fastest car on track, but it's marginal. Everett had been the fastest car on track the lap before that with a 28.99. Strader is closing. 0.2 gained. Down the backstretch. Strader within 1.1 seconds. Everett trying everything he can to get past Andrew Little, who will inevitably make it hard for Christian Strader to make that pass. Meanwhile, Matt Hayden battles Malarkey back there for 5th. Everett hounds the 68. Travis Everett trying everything in his power here to get win number 1. Strader is closing 8.5 tenths back to the Coast Guard Mustang. Everett's got to turn up the heat on the 68 here at the front. Goes to the top, going to drive it down the hill. Travis Everett trying to get every inch of ground he can on Andrew Little. He pulls to within a couple car lengths, maybe a car length and a half, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Strader is closing and closing fast. 7 tenths back for the 29. Everett brushes the outside fence, but still right on the back bumper of Andrew Little is Travis Everett. Strader's going to get there, but he's got to pass these 2 cars. Little really good through 3 and 4 that time. And now drives away just a moment, but not from Christian Strader, who now is only half a second back. Strader dominated practice. He was first in practice. He qualified on the pole and led a bunch of laps in the early stages before that pit call to take 4 when everybody else took none or 2. Got him 9 seconds off the pace. Now with just 22 laps to go, he sits in 3rd position with a chance to really pull one out of a bad situation. Back down into 1. Little trying to drive away. 21 laps to go. Fastest car on track is Christian Strader, but not by much. Wonder if the air is giving Schrader some problems. Oh, but he got that top line that he loves so much that time. But Everett slams the door. That time by Little, again the fastest car on track. And now starts to pull away. But again, remember, all these guys should have to pit one more time, so there's still a lot of strategy to be played in this race. Schrader took a lunge there at the Travis Everett machine in turns 3 and 4. It did not work. Hunter Carlson is kind of shot out of a cannon here in the 32. He's up to 5th and picking up time on the leaders. So don't look now, but the 32 has picked up some late race speed, and he's looking to get 4th on Justin Malarkey. Hunter Carlson, where'd this speed come from? He run middle to back all day, got involved in the incident earlier with Steve Potter, but has recovered nicely here to 4th, and he'll get the spot. Drives on the flat, takes the spot, and now eyes down the leaders. Trying to get back to the race leaders as the race leaders try to catch up to Andrew Little. Next time by 17 laps to go at Darlington. Again, Schrader gets that top lane that he likes. He rings the top off turn 4. Everett plays defense, and Schrader's unable to get to his right rear. Christian Schrader's run has stalled at the Travis Everett machine. As Andrew Little, loving this. Oh man, Everett just pounded the fence off turn 2. But Little had to get out of the gas. He's coming to pit road. Andrew Little to pit road with 17 to go. Everett dives off the racetrack and will follow him to pit road. He gets all the way as close to his back bumper as he can possibly get. Now Schrader's the leader. If I'm Schrader, I pit. I don't think I run it as long unless you're going to gas and go and try to beat them off pit road, but you're not gaining any time. In fact, Hunter Carlson is picking up time right now. Almost pit right here if I'm Schrader. Let's see what he does. Down into turn 3, 16 to go. Not going to be a huge advantage if you pit right here, but oh, he doesn't. He stays out. Little and Everett are in the catbird seat, I think, for this race. If they have enough time. Now, that's the other question. Will they have enough time? How late can Schrader go in the run now that he pitted with only 35 laps to go? How late can he go? If he can get to single digits, is there enough time with those guys stuck a lap down? And Little gets away with about an 8-car length lead over Travis Everett, so Little maintains provisional lead. But Carlson, he's running down Schrader here. This is not over for the 29, even on this run. Some serious late race speed for the 32 of Hunter Carlson. Under a second between him and Schrader now. 13 to go. Remember, these guys have to pit. At least they should. Carlson inside of 8/10 is just kind of probably running this for all it's worth, trying to get the provisional lead. We'll keep an eye on the gap as well. Back to Andrew Little and Travis Everett. GT Irizarry comes to pit road right here with 13 laps to go. I anticipate that Schrader and these guys are going to run it out. I think they're going to just run it as dry as it'll go. And then you're coming down and just splashing and leaving. I think the 68 and the 14, or the 68 and the 13, I think took tires. And if they took tires, then if you splash, you can have about a 6 or 7 second faster pit stop than them. And try to get on and off pit road in a timely enough manner to stay in front of them. In fact, the gap right now is not closing by a ton. It is closing, but it's not a ton. And Schrader's still in the 29.5s. I mean, these are competitive lap times. Schrader picking up the throttle. Off turn 4. Carlson is second, and he is within 7/10 now. So we have two battles going on. It's the battle of whether or not these guys can stretch a tank of fuel, and also the battle between Schrader and Carlson. So the battle between Schrader and these guys that came to pit road, but now Hunter Carlson has entered his name into the mix with 11 laps to go, and he will come to pit road. He dives off the racetrack, 11 laps to go, and he will make his final stop at Darlington. And with that late race speed, I don't mind him going a long way. We'll see what Strader can do on fresher tires when he comes to pit road. He's got to do it pretty soon. He's lost a few seconds here to those guys behind him. You would think he's got to come down here in the next lap or two. And then you'll see him run as hard as he has all night because he'll only have 9 laps to go on tires. And here he comes to pit road, perhaps. No. Is he shutting the car off? Let's take a ride on board with Christian Strader. I want to check something. Oh, boy. We have yet to see anything like this in the Challenger Cup Series this season. But this is a strategy I saw someone attempt in the Gen 4 cars at Dover about a year ago. And that is to save as much gas as possible by shutting the ignition off on entry to the corner. I saw someone try this at Dover. It did not work. He was not able to go, but the margin wasn't quite this slim, where you were that close to the end of a run. And depending on how much Strader was able to save under that last caution flag, you wonder, does he have the distance here to potentially shut it off and save just enough to make the checker flag? But now my next question is, he's got cars behind him. Now the question will be, can those cars make the end of the race? We got a fuel strategy race, ladies and gentlemen. Malarkey's got his car off in turns 1 and 2. What about James Coytrone? See if he shuts the car off right here. Well, he's lifting awfully early. He's not shutting it off, but it was a very early lift point. Let's check Matt Hayden. And we'll check John Velocity. These guys are all lifting early. This is unbelievable. At the line, there will be 5 laps to go. And Christian Strader is trying to save every drop of gas in that gas tank because he realizes he's not going to win the race on strategy. And Travis Everett's 38 seconds back. I mean, you got a ton. If you're any of these cars really up here, you've got a ton of leeway to turn the car off, save gas, and try to win this thing on strategy. At the line, 4 laps to go. You've almost gotten to the threshold where you could go. We saw guys go 26, 27 laps under green. After the stage break, they went till about 65. Realistically, this may happen, but here, again, there's a wrench. Justin Malarkey is within a second and a half of Christian Strader. Big hit to the outside wall there for Fitzmaurice, the lap car. Coytrone was pressuring Malarkey for a moment. Now Coytrone is back to the heat off a little bit. Oh, man. Fitzmaurice again pounds the outside retaining wall. Andrew Little is 36 seconds back. 3 laps to go. You don't have that much more to go, about 4 miles. Will they have enough? Strader. But now will he have to fight off the challenge of Justin Malarkey, who pounds the outside wall and gets a Darlington stripe. If there's any time you could not ask for a Darlington stripe, it is right there. Now the question I have for Strader, does he have enough to go the last 2 laps? Because he's going to have to drive away here from Justin Malarkey, who loses some time in 3 and 4. A second gap. He's still got the car off. Next time by, Christian Strader will see the white flag. He's looking for win number 3. Malarkey within half a second looking for win number 1. Coytrone is not necessarily out of this either. Malarkey to the outside, looking for the race lead. Both have their car. They're racing with their cars off. White flag, 1 lap to go at Darlington. Coytrone's not out of this, depending on what Strader wants to do, but if he has to turn the car off, it may be all she wrote. Strader's going to have 1 look at it here in 3 and 4, or we may have 1 driver coming away stealing 1. Strader's out of gas. He limps down the back straightaway. Does Malarkey have enough to make it around to the start-finish line? He'll come off turn 4, and assuming he doesn't run out right now, Justin Malarkey, by some miracle, has enough gas. Malarkey steals it in Darlington. Strader just barely did not have enough. And Justin Malarkey, in one of the wildest pit sequences, pit cycle calls, pit strategy races I've seen in a long time, Malarkey steals a ticket to the playoffs and wins his first race of this season. What a moment for him. You could argue he was the best car at Atlanta and was not able to win the race. He was not able to recover from track position losses. But tonight, Justin Malarkey has enough gas, makes it around Strader at the white flag, and drives right in to the Season 1 playoffs here in 2025. He was 12th in points coming into tonight, and now he'll go postseason racing. Will allow him the opportunity to celebrate. And there he goes. Malarkey, your winner from Darlington. We'll get into the post-race coverage now from the Darlington Raceway. We'll start with your post-race finishing results. Starting grid, don't want to bring that back up, but we will bring up tonight's finishing results from Darlington Raceway. Justin Malarkey steals one out from underneath of Christian Strader and Andrew Little and Travis Everett and Harold Watkins and all the guys that competed. Malarkey ran an interesting race. We're going to have to ask him about the call at the end of the stage. Stays out after stage 1, has to pit 5 laps into the second stage, loses a bunch of track position, drives back onto the lead lap, gets a timely caution, makes a pit call to stay out on that last run to save fuel, and comes home with a win. He'll race in the Challenger Cup Series playoffs in 2025. James Coytrone second, ran a great race, his best opportunity so far this season to win a race, but captures some stage points, captures a nice finish that will garner him some serious point standings. So his spot for now is safe as well. Matt Hayden ends up on the podium third. At one point looked like he had race-winning speed, but not able to come through with a win. Will come home on the podium. John Velocity finishes fourth. Really nice run for one of the championship 4 from a season ago that has not really had the start of the season you'd imagine. Came into tonight 7th in points, but almost 90 points off the lead. Surely a 4th place finish will help him. Christian Strader runs out of gas on the backstretch, but limps it home to finish in 5th. Andrew Little finishes 6th. It felt like he could have won 2 in a row tonight. Felt like he had the race-winning call, and unfortunately, 5 guys in front of him risk it on fuel. He finishes 6th. Travis Everett in 7th as well. One of his best opportunities to win in the playoffs. He finishes 7th. Hunter Carlson had some speed tonight, but doesn't end up with him in the finishing standings. He'll go 8th. Harold Watkins led a bunch of laps. He'll go 9th. And GT Oziri will go 10th. Stephen Luttrell back in 11th with Jimmy Fitzmaurice in 12th. Rusty Modesty 13th. Stephen Rasick in 14th. Greg Bourbonier in 15th. Steve Potter in 16th. And Brandon Beauchamp rounds out the 17-car field. We are going to go grab your top 3 for some post-race interviews. Stay with us on PGR eSports. We'll be right back. You don't want to miss a thing. And we'll talk to the race winner, Justin Malarkey, as well as James Coytrone and Matt Hayden coming back to you on PGR eSports. Welcome back to PGR eSports coverage of the Challenger Cup Series Race 8 from Darlington Raceway. We'll start now into the post-race interviews segment, as we'll start with the man who finished in 3rd position, Matt Hayden in the 5-car. Another podium for him. A couple spots short of the win, but nonetheless makes the fuel strategy work at the end to come home with a top 3 finish. Matt, it's Dawson up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Dawson, how's it going, man?
Not too bad. To keep the running joke going, another time you're up here talking to me, and another time it's not for a victory, and you finished second and third this year. But no, regardless, a good run for you. A very interesting end of this race. Kind of, take me through the call. You end up staying out on this strategy with a couple of other cars, and it works out for you. Take me through the end of the race, the battle with John Velocity, and coming home with a third-place finish.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize what some of the guys ahead were doing. I think some of the guys ended up with a set of tires still in the pit, or they may have taken it in that last little stint. I think people tried to double after stage, and I didn't realize it. I just kept taking tires, and then I realized we were going to have about a 15 to 20 lap shootout at the end, and then when we had that other caution, it was close on fuel, took fuel, and then realized that, if we were battling the guys with tires, the only chance we had was to try to stay out. I just didn't know how many people were going to go long. And we were just joking. I was joking with Catrone and Malarkey. I didn't get the memo to stay in fifth gear. On that last restart, I probably rode 3 laps shifting, and that probably cost me enough gas to not be up there with them, because I ended up letting both of them by. I wasn't sure what strategy they were pulling, and then they obviously picked up the pace, so I thought they were good on fuel, and I was half lap short. So, but I'll tell you this: after the start of this race, the middle part of this race, and everything in between, top 3, I had listen. I'm happy. I'm happy just to be here.
Well, third place finish for you tonight, and a good points day for you, and there's not a lot of room for error. Obviously, kind of small fields, but the point standings really between second and about sixth, separated by just 24 points. So any point you can get tonight, very valuable. We go forward now. Again, some wild cards coming up. Bristol next week, Talladega in 3 weeks. It's going to shake a lot of things up. What can we expect at those 2 tracks from the 5 car? Can we expect more competition? Are you going to points race? Kind of what's the strategy here going forward into a couple of very unpredictable races?
No, I think we're gonna, we're gonna go for it. Bristol's probably not a strong point in my stack of tricks, so probably a little more conservative and not making a lot of moves. But Talladega, we like the drafting tracks. We like to be up front. We like to be pushing and in contention at the end. So I think you'll see us a little more aggressive at Talladega. But I don't know. We got that win in the bag, and we're up. Had a good point stay for the regular season side of it. Gained a little bit on Christian, gained a little bit on Harold. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll just keep being aggressive where we can pick up points.
Well, we'll see going forward here as the point standings continue to tighten up. In fact, as you mentioned that, you did gain some time on those guys now, only 32 points back in the lead, and 8-9 drivers within 80 points of the points lead. Going forward, a third-place finish for you tonight before we let you go, and enjoy it. Take a bit of a breather after a tough one here at Darlington. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, no, I want to thank everyone at Challenger Racing League. Appreciate everybody putting this on, coming out, you for the broadcast. Chicane Sim Racing out of Little Rock, Central Arkansas Karting Association, Misfit Motorsports, Jimmy down there. Shout out to Lindsay Fitzmaurice. Always got to say hi to her when we get a top 3. And then just everyone back home out watching. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you talking to me for a second. Congrats on the third place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. And we will see you next week in Bristol.
All right.
Matt Aiden in the 5 car. Third place finish here tonight. From Darlington Raceway, we'll move now to the top 2. First off, second place finisher James Coitrone ran a good qualifying lap, ran up front quite a bit in this race, almost got back to Justin Malarkey with a chance to capture his first win, but certainly as one of the guys not necessarily bad in points, but was on the cut line for the playoffs, coming into tonight 16th with a couple guys behind him that were gaining some ground. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for Coitrone. His second top 5 finish of the season is good enough to get him now well over that cut line. In fact, to the tune of 20 points above 16th and about 70 above 17th. That was a huge points day for James Coitrone. He gains 4 spots in the points up to 12th, and he finishes second tonight We'll get some words on it from him here momentarily. James, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. How you doing?
Well, not too bad. Look, gotta be doing a little worse than you are, though. I mean, this one's got to feel good. Again, came into tonight 16th, the final car in the playoffs, with a couple guys by you that had made a little noise the last couple weeks. This has got to be exactly what the doctor ordered. A good run, a good qualifying spot, now a good finish, probably a couple more laps. Maybe we're talking about a battle for the win as well. You know, just your overall takeaways. Take me through your night here at Darlington on the way to a second-place finish.
Oh man, I don't even know. It was all over the place. I love Darlington first of all, so I really kind of hope to win here. So I'm a little disappointed, but usually I never qualify well anywhere. So starting on the front row kind of threw me for a loop there, and then I was on top of the world, leading for a little bit there, and then I kind of I think it was Christian by, and he seemed to want to run harder than I cared to at the time, and still felt pretty good. But geez, after that stage break, I just got kicked around a little bit and almost lost it all and went to the back. And just a battle from there, trying to get off strategy a little bit, and then of course that caution fell just to the point where it was tough to see if we could make it without stopping or not, and tried to play both sides of that the best I could, and it was a chess game trying to figure out. I thought I could have gotten next to Malarkey at one point, but I thought, no, I don't want to run myself out of fuel racing him. I think because typically I can save fuel as good as anybody, so I figured I was probably in the best shape on fuel and I could barely make it. So but hats off to him. He just did that perfect game of saving enough but not too much to come in second.
Well, regardless, a second-place finish, obviously, you always want to win, but, it's just as important to gain those points tonight. And, again, the difference between last week and this week now, +4 in the standings, up to 12th, now 70 points clear of any danger here in the playoffs. Going forward now, you got a couple wild cards. I feel like this couldn't have come at a more perfect time. Bristol next week, who knows what's going to happen there, and then even more so Talladega here in a few weeks. Going into these wild card races, now what's the game plan? You're not right on the cut line. How does the game plan change for you going into these two, what should be chaotic races coming up?
It really never changes for me in the regular season like this, because I just try to win races, and usually the points fall where in a reasonable spot if you're trying to be competitive and win the races. I was away from the sim for a little bit, so it's been tough coming back and trying to compete with some of these guys that are very good. But really isn't changed. I just go out to win, and if I can't do that, the points are what they are. I make myself sick trying to think about points and figure out where I need to be. That makes something that's supposed to be fun a lot less fun. So I just try to win, go from there.
Well, a couple more opportunities coming up next week, Bristol, then Talladega, and on from there to the end of the regular season. So a second-place finish for you tonight. Again, gained you a lot of points, up to 12th, and in a comfortable points position now, headed into 2 really unpredictable weeks. And before we let you go, do want to give you a chance. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Oh, just want to thank you for doing the broadcast. Thank Rusty and Andrew and Harold for doing the points, especially. Everybody that helps put this on. I was helping quite a bit at one point, but unfortunately life got in the way, and I haven't been helping them a lot, so I appreciate them carrying the torch quite a bit. That's pretty much it for now.
Well, appreciate you talking to me for a second. Congratulations on the second-place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will see you next week at Bristol.
Right, see it.
James Cortrone, the second-place finisher tonight, going to bring us the man in Challenger Cup Series victory lane for the first time this season. And again, it's kind of interesting if this one fell his way, because it's kind of the opposite of Atlanta. Dominated at Atlanta, led a bunch of laps, looked like the best car, looked like the most in control of the entire race, is not able to go to victory lane in that race. And now, this is kind of the opposite. Doesn't look like the best car tonight necessarily on speed. It's not a dig at him, but, Christian Strader, probably the fastest car on speed. And Malarkey made a couple moments staying out after the stage. Didn't really work for him. Trying to double stint on the stage, doesn't really work. He ends up getting a timely caution with 30 to go, and instead of dominating and it not falling his way, he kind of lingers, sticks around, puts himself in contention, and ends up finding a way to win. And somehow, that's how it goes. The fortune turns his way, and now he's officially locked into the Challenger Cup Series playoffs. Justin, it's Dawson Wise in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Dawson, here we are.
Well, I was just kind of leading into this a little bit. I talked about it right after, the checkered flag as well, that it kind of feels like this is the makeup for Atlanta. A dominant race in Atlanta. I thought for sure you were the best car. Thought you were going to go to victory lane. It doesn't fall your way. You find a way here in Darlington, though. The end of the race, the last 30 laps, the field strategy falls your way. First off, kind of take me through that call. Take me through how close you were there at the end. I heard James a second ago saying he was barely going to make it, but you find a way to not only drive yourself to the lead, but manage to save enough fuel to get to the end.
Yeah, I had great practice that whole entire first stage because I wanted to try and make it that first stage and see if I could trap people down. So from the beginning of the race, I decided to fifth gear it and kind of take care of the tires. And then I realized I was not going to make it there. So what I decided to do was make sure the tires were still really good, pit, take fuel only, stay out at the stage, and then pit about 12 laps in there. It really crushed me because I dropped like a rock, but I figured this way I got to use my set of tires equally for the next 30 laps on the 3 remaining stops. And it kind of worked out. And then the caution came out and everyone had one set of tires left anyway, but it was just really close on fuel. But I had that practice in the beginning, and I feel like that just really taught me what I needed to do. And I chose to use fourth gear one time. It was to pass Harold. I knew I needed to get in front of him because he was saving, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to control that race and dictate how much fuel was being burned. And that was, once I shifted that one time though, it got close again, and I was like, everything I saved I had to undo right there just to get by him. But I'm sure it made fun up there for you calling it.
Well, these are my favorite types of races, so you're absolutely right. I love fuel-saving, fuel strategy. This one was certainly up there with my favorites that I've seen. Look, you punch the win, you get the monkey off your back now, kind of punch that ticket. You're in the playoffs, and now, when you take a look at the points, in terms of the playoff points, you're right up there with, the top 5, 6 in points. And, now, and I heard this from a couple guys, over the course of the season, that you get the win, and now your focus kind of switches. You're locked in, so now you can kind of focus on playoff points. Few wild cards coming up. Bristol next week, then the week off for Easter. Obviously, we're going to, do the little fun race, but then Talladega is a wild card of all wild cards, and you've been good at the drafting tracks. What's the game plan for you the next few weeks through these wild card races to kind of position yourself for the postseason?
It's going to be really trying to learn how this league makes it really fun with the way you get such little fuel that you have to decide, are you going to try and short pit and save the tires or like, it's just, there's so much different strategy, and it doesn't seem like we really get a lot of caution. So it seems like we go caution free. So you're making that decision. Are you going to use tires at the stage break, or are you going to take them and then not take them and then short pit? And that's kind of what I chose to do tonight, because I was hoping to have the tires cycle and be able to, when someone else double stinted, I would make up the time. But that's what I'll really be practicing, some of that. It'll be interesting at Bristol because, as you know, you pit at Bristol, you're going to go at least 2 laps down. So you're not going to want to be the first one to hit pit road there if a caution does come out. It's really just going to be learning this strategy on what to do. There's too many times this year where I've taken home a set of tires thinking maybe there'd be a late race caution, and I think I need to maybe start practicing not taking that set of tires with me at home and seeing how it plays out, because it seems like we don't get enough cautions to really save a set for the end.
Well, so far it's not how it's played out, and tonight, same thing. We go 30 laps to the finish, and you manage to get to victory lane again, punching that ticket to the playoffs later on in the season officially now. Now, before we let you go, do want to give you a chance. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out here from victory lane?
Yeah, I have to definitely start with you right here on your broadcast company, the PGR eSports, because I'm so excited to get a chance to talk to you. And I've heard nothing but great things about the broadcast from some of the people that watch it here at home. So I know they're really excited, and I can't wait to get off here and go talk to them. And I'm sure they're pumped. So appreciate you doing this. I know it's challenging to be up there and do solo broadcasting, but I know you're awesome up there. So appreciate everything you do, and shout out to the league and just everyone else here on iRacing, making it a fun league where we kind of get to race and battle and have a lot of fun.
Well, tonight a fun one. Congratulations on the victory tonight. Thanks for talking to me for a second. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will see you next week in Thunder Valley.
See ya.
Justin Malarkey, the winner tonight from Darlington Raceway, and it will bring us to the end of our coverage from the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame, Darlington Raceway, and I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better Darlington race than that. It had different lines, it had tire saving, it had Darlington stripes, it had crashes, it had chaos, and at the end, it had fuel strategy as well. You could not have asked for a better way to spend a Tuesday night here at Darlington Raceway. We'll look forward now to the immediate future for this series. Next Tuesday night, as I just kind of segued in and hinted to, if you hadn't figured it out already, next Tuesday night, 8:45 p.m., the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile, a track with a lot of nicknames just like this one. Those tracks have a lot of nicknames, you know they're significant. Bristol Motor Speedway, Thunder Valley makes its return here to the Challenger Cup Series next Tuesday night. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, iRacing updated Bristol a few weeks ago. It is a magnificent track surface now. They rescanned it. It's the brand new concrete surface that we have here that's about to go racing in the Cup Series and the Xfinity and Truck Series as well this weekend at Bristol. I'm actually making the trip on up there. But it's got the new surface. It races like a dream. You can put the car basically anywhere you want to on that racetrack. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these guys attack it next Tuesday night. After that, we'll take the week off for Easter. Enjoy that week with family and friends and loved ones. I probably will not be around for the Easter fun race, but we'll wait and see on that. And then after that, it's NASCAR's biggest and baddest. Talladega Super Speedway comes back three weeks from tonight, towards the end of April. Actually, maybe the early May by then. And that's another run to the playoffs. A few more races after that, and then we'll be postseason racing in Wilkesboro before you know it here in the Challenger Cup Series. Coming up next after this, Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder, round number 8, I believe, on the PGR eSports Network. The Grindstone Development Truck Series wrapping up now with Austin Green in the booth. It'll be Michael Triscaro and Ron Morris on the call for RMR Tuesday Night Thunder right here on PGR eSports. Go to our main page, click on the next stream. They are either live now or they're going to be here shortly as that race gets underway in Ron Morris Racing's series. Later on in the week, Thursday night, you're going to want to tune into this one. As PGR eSports Intimidator Super Speedway Series Racing makes a trip to Bristol this week. A bit of an interesting trip. We're used to that series going to super speedways, but this week they decided to throw a bit of a wrench into the schedule as Bristol Motor Speedway comes into the fold for the first time. And it's going to be in the ARCA Menard Series cars, those brand new ARCA cars that reflect the current gen ARCA cars. And boy, if you have not seen those cars race, they are a blast. You can put those cars anywhere you want to. They drive like a charm. The racing is fantastic. It's going to be a fun one on Thursday night on a hot, slick Bristol Motor Speedway as we get you prepped for NASCAR racing at Bristol over the course of the weekend. And then after that, we're back next Tuesday. Can't wait to see you then. So glad you tuned in here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me once again from Darlington. Justin Malarkey steals one tonight in a fuel strategy race from the Lady in Black. He has punched his ticket to the Challenger Cup Series playoffs here in 2025. We'll see you next week, 8:45 p.m. Eastern from Bristol Motor Speedway. My name is Dawson Wise. Coming to you from Darlington as we wrap up round 8.